Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So we're here at Florence Regional. I'm picking up in the Nascar 2022 tour from Walker Air Transport and trying to proceed forward. So I am trying out some new items here, so quite excited. If you haven't noticed on the channel, there have been things appearing that Beyondatc, the platform I've been waiting for air traffic control, had released into early access this past weekend, so that makes it available for this week's flight. So my goal is to use it, see how things work. And at this point, we're also using the FSLTL injector, which will give us some traffic. Again, part of this is a little bit of testing to see if all these things can work together, because obviously there have been some problems. And since it is early access, that's to be expected to some degree. But obviously, the issue then is we report those things to the developers so that they can take a peek at them. So I'm going to go ahead and start here on the ramp, because again, obviously we want all of the air traffic pieces, and the more we can do a whole flight series, the better. I think as I'm flying and moving along the country, because this is a relatively long leg, we're going from Darlington, which is in South Carolina, I believe. This week's race in 2022 was in Kansas. So we've got, I think, 738 nautical miles to go ahead and traverse. So that's going to take a couple hours. So having that as just a flight, when most of the time we're just flying and probably handing off to different centers and so forth, don't know that that's going to be that interesting, but obviously I'm sure people would like to see the air traffic pieces, see how that works, and go from there. But let me load in here. And we are using the Cessna again because this airport's pretty small. It'd be pretty hard to get out of here with anything larger, and obviously I'm sure the taxiways and everything are not built for that either. So while we load in, I forgot, I've started Beyondatc will wait for player to be ready. I've only been able to get it to work by loading at the main menu. We're supposed to be able to load at the airport. I didn't want to rock the boat for this yet, but we'll certainly try that in the future. Alright, so I'm going to shrink this down. I've set it as always on top. I usually kind of put it here with the landing monitor, and then you'll be able to see things as we go, but it's at least obscure, or small enough, and we may resize it a little bit again. But as soon as I hit ready to fly, hopefully it'll continue. There we go. So now it's calculating routes and so forth. Whoops. Oh boy. So I didn't set my flight properly. Well, that's unfortunate. It did load in the airport, so I am happy to see that. Interesting. So it should call us Walker 4021. I do have the right code in there, but it's calling us Wings for some reason. Okay, so at this point, we're here at the airport. We're going to go ahead, and I don't know that anybody's terribly missing my attempt at some role play of, hey, we're taking these guys, here's the background of the race and so forth. I was doing that to create a little bit of filler in the episode. Because we have Beyondatc now, I'm going to drop that unless someone really wants that. And all I was really doing is kind of providing some color. Hey, here was the race. Here's who finished in the top 5. I can look that up pretty easily and continue to do that. But for now, I'm just going to jump in, and we're going to start setting up the aircraft. So we're flying to Kansas City International. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get our clearance called in. So we can see here we've got clearance, tower, Tracon. So you can go here. I use the auto-tune radio so that I'm not making it that complicated. So with Beyondatc, you can do a couple things. You can actually tune it into the radio, 121.9. Or you can click on this and I guess it will tune it itself. So if I go in here and I do 121.9, well, actually, I probably need to get ATIS first. Is there no ATIS? So it doesn't look like there's an ATIS for this airport. And again, given that it's a regional airport, that's not surprising. 121.9. So we're going to put that into COM radio 1. And so now you can see Florence clearance. Florence clearance, wings 4021, radio check.
Wings 4021, reading you loud and clear.
Alright, so that's the kind of cool stuff we get. So I want to make sure that I know where I'm going. So let me make sure I get my, it's Kansas City International. Okay. Requesting clearance to Kansas City International, wings 4021.
Wings 4021, Florence clearance, cleared to Kansas City Airport. Radar vector Spartanburg VOR, then as filed. Maintain 4000. Expect flight level tree 20, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 118.6. Squawk 010 tree.
Cleared to Kansas City Airport. Radar vector Spartan, then as filed. Maintain 4000. Expect flight level 320, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 118.6. Squawk 0103. Wings 4021.
Wings 4021, read back correct. Contact tower 125.1 when ready for start or taxi.
Contact tower 125.1, wings 4021. Alright, so now we're at Florence Tower. So there isn't a ground here. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. So that's pretty unique, or pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and continue now that I've got my clearance and I've got my squawk and all that. So we can get the squawk in here, 0103. That'll put it in there. We're on TA, so we're good. And you can see it's 125.1, so it auto-tunes things in the sim as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my flight plan fully set up. And when I'm ready to taxi and take off, we'll be back. But hopefully you're seeing kind of the added level of realism that this adds versus just the basic ATC in the game. So I've actually enjoyed it the few times I've used it. Again, there's a couple videos on the channel with just test flights, but my intent is to try to incorporate this into anything that I use, because even on long flights I can turn on that auto respond, and so it can continue to operate. Like if I have to do something overnight, for example, I'll probably end up testing that with something that isn't on the channel. But if we do have some long flights, you know, I can still step away and still have this work. I did get an answer on how to fix the walker thing. So if you're ever running into that, you need prefer VA call sign set in options here, and then that works. The other thing I hadn't talked about is the voice quality. I'm using basic right now, so I'm not using any of the premium characters that I get by default. Also, since I did my Beyond ATC videos initially, I was having extremely difficult times connecting. I've now, through these changes, had to stop and restart Beyond ATC or exit the airport, bring things in, which also requires you to start and stop it 4 or 5 times. It's connected flawlessly. So I'm hoping that the change from 0.17 to 0.21 was part of that. So anyway, I just wanted to update you. So I had to kind of redo all this, and I forgot to call in, which is why this appears twice, because I was in here setting things up. But we're at the same point. I'm going to now pop off again and just get everything set. My battery had died in the meantime because I had gotten to do something. So, all right, I'll be back. All right, so we're all set with VSLTL. We are pretty busy here with aircraft. You know, I'm just going to pull out. I don't know that I need the pushback because it doesn't make any sense. I guess, you know, in the end, that'll probably be off camera anyway, but just letting you know. But we're going to call in for clearance here, or taxi. Florence Tower, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021 did not copy.
Okay, I think I need to make the request. I thought I needed to identify. Florence Tower, request push and start, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Florence Tower, pushback and engine start approved. Face east.
Alright, so I should have done that to begin with, but in any event. So we'll go ahead and get that done. Face east, Walker 4021. Alright, so we're able to get clear of him without a problem. So I'm just going to face east as it asked. Technically, east is another... I'm facing south right now, so... Now we're facing east. Request taxi to runway, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, runway 27 taxi via Alpha, Bravo. Hold short runway 1.
Runway 27, taxi via Alpha, Bravo. Hold short runway 1, Walker 4021. Alright, so there's no way I really can go Bravo, Alpha, but in any event, we'll get moving here. Let me get, I was going to say, I don't have nav, VNav, let's see. Alright, let me go down here. Need to get ourselves around. Alright, somehow we're... Alright, now can I do nav? Alright, there we go. And then VNav. So I can get to Bravo and Alpha, but so I'll do that, but again, it's not exactly where they want. So this is Charlie that I'm going out of. Then I'll be turning on to Delta, but it's like if I went all the way around, I could have gotten to Bravo, but Alpha's way at the bottom along the God, this airport texture looks terrible. Looks like I'm driving on dirt. It actually acts like I'm driving on dirt. So this is the problem with the smaller airports, where if I use another add-on that maybe eventually I'll bring into the series here called self-loading cargo, that you know, the passengers start screaming and I lose points because I've left the taxiway in that case. So it's a little frustrating sometimes with how the base airports are designed, but you know, there's nothing much we can do about it. At times, Beyondatc will pick up the fact that we are doing something. Alright, hold on, because that's the runway, so I want to go down, because like there's no point in crossing, because otherwise I'm basically on the
Walker
runway.
4021, cross runway 1 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Delta.
Alright, so hold on, where am I going? I don't understand, am I... Because yeah, I think I'm going the wrong way here, so hold on.
Walker 4021, cross runway 1 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Delta.
Cross runway 1 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Delta. Which runway did it tell me to take off from? Now I'm questioning that. Runway... Oh, runway 27. Okay, because that's not where... Okay, so that's where I'm headed, but that's not what my flight plan says. So, in any event, let me do that. So, again, we're cleared. But again, like, Bravo Delta, it, like, takes me to the terminal. So the likelihood is this is botched up in the airport file. So you got to take things with a little bit of a grain of salt in that, you know, it's, you got to know where you're going from your charts. And so, again, I don't think this would be a Beyondatc problem. I think this is the Florence Airport design problem. And somehow these taxiways are wrong. Because now we're on alpha, according to the chart I have. Now, again, there's a possibility the chart is bad, but I didn't see any signs or anything that indicate that. All right, let me scroll that back down. And then, obviously, once we get to the end, we're going to get to the, you know, request departure and so forth. So the other thing that sometimes changes it is wind direction. But the wind direction, if I remember, was like 130 at 10. I may regret the fact that I'm flying this with real weather. It didn't look like there was much. There's some storms in between, but as far as at each airport, things looked pretty clear. Yeah, see, and actually this says Delta, so my chart's wrong, or this is wrong, but so you can see out the window there, it's Delta, so it was right. So, and I found that often, like every time. I mean, I haven't found it wrong. So I think that becomes part of the challenge is the airports don't match the charts, which is kind of frustrating. So, because that makes it a little more difficult to find things, because then you're visually, like you can't, as a pilot normally you'd have a chart of your airport, you pull it out and you'd use it. At least that's what I've been told. So, in any event, we are here. And since we're going to basically just a VOR at Spartan, which I think is Spartanburg, South Carolina, it doesn't really matter because it's like 121 nautical miles. So it doesn't really matter which way we take off. Instead of going straight south, we're going to be going west, and actually going west is better for us. It's more of a straight turn. Otherwise, I'd almost have to do like 180-degree turn to get back up on the path, where here it'll just be a bit of a correction. But let's get going. Holding short at runway 27, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021 Florence Tower, wind 240 at 10, fly heading 270, runway 27, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 27, cleared for takeoff, Walker 4021. Alright, so let's get everything else fixed. We should have had taxi lights on. We didn't. We want our landing and our strobe. We're good there. We've got our flaps set to 15. We're supposed to maintain 4,000, so I guess let me go back down to that. And then, you know, I assume they'll clear us to 32 at some point. All right. So the responsiveness and the speed, I think, is excellent. It's you know, very realistic. I think you know, it's got clear indicators even when you're shrunk down of the key things you need to know. So I'm cleared for takeoff on 27. Everything else is a bit of extraneous information. All right, so at this point, we're going to head on out. It's taking a long time for the throttle to move up, but it is what it is. Whoops, I was double checking my tracker that the flight was being tracked, and in the meantime I nearly flew away. So if I was doing other things, or if it was in some of the career add-on mods that I am debating doing, that would have turned into a mess. Alright, so at some point we're positive climbs, so we're gonna get the gear up.
Walker 4021, contact Florence departure.
Alright, so there we go. We're gonna go on autopilot. We should be set. Contact Florence departure, Walker 4021. Alright, we're over speeding, which always happens because I'm so focused on everything else. I don't know why it's not slowing down, but it should be shortly. Alright, it's also not really going up, and that could be because let me just make sure I'm going direct SPA, which I am, but I guess it's climbing a bit. It's climbing to 400. Alright, so this looks a bit messed up because it's not on departure. I wonder... Okay. Let's see. Florence departure, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Florence departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 16,000, altimeter 2984.
Climb and maintain 16,000, Walker 4021. Yeah, so this is where you'll get kind of what they call step climbs. Alright, I want to climb faster than this. This is insanity, so I'm going to crank this up a bit. Again, we've got a Cessna, we've got power. So once again, you can see very clear, climb and maintain 16,000, even if you couldn't read the words, like 16,000, altimeter 2984, that's what we were set to, because obviously that's what it was at the location what we took off of at Florence. So again, we have 773 nautical miles according to my tracking in Navigraph. You know, we'll stick here together as we climb, just you know, because I'm sure we'll get handed off from Florence departure at some point. You know, because the issue, and it's good to see that it worked, because you can see, like it said, Florence terminal radar approach control. But I was able to call in to departure, even though, you know, because it's really the TRACON, which is traffic control, I believe. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Let me, whoops, sorry. Trying to figure out the best way to, I think it's, no, alright. So if I go there, shrink it, oh goodness, this just isn't going to work. Alright, let me bring up the landing monitor again. Alright, that'll work. We'll just do that. I want to move this. I just want it clear so that we're not in each other's way, but it still takes up a little more real estate. So, you know, you'd have to decide if you were flying, like if it matters or what. And typically what I'll probably be doing in the future is I'm not really going to leave this on screen. but because this is a new add-on to the community, I thought folks might be interested in kind of seeing how it functions, how it works, and so forth. But I would imagine, because it looks like we're out of the airspace, but again, because it's a Tracon, I think they would do, you know, they probably have greater coverage. And that handoff was probably to get me from tower to get me out. You know, and I'm just wondering, because, you know, we're at 7,000. We're passing through another Class E airport at this point, Class E airspace, over Hartsville. My guess is at 7,000 feet, we're higher than we should be. So again, FSLTL gives us some traffic. You know, we'd be able to see what that was if we were really, you know, looking for that. I suppose, again, I'm going to try things I normally run. Just make sure that things don't crash. So Little Nav Map is an add-on that I use that then will show me. So yeah, that's actually a Cessna Citation, similar as me, passing us over at 36,000 feet. Looks like they're descending. Not quite sure where they're headed. Looks like, can I tell? The destination is Kilo Papa Bravo Indigo, so I don't know. Don't know exactly where that is, but not a lot of traffic around other than that. So it's a little bit light in this area of the country. All right. Well, we're going to be heading a good way. I'm sure it's just going to require handoffs as I go. So I don't know how interesting that's going to be. We're basically going to have to call in altitudes and so forth. You know, I suppose, I mean, let's get through 16,000, because, like, obviously our cruise is 32, so it'll be interesting kind of how they move us forward. Let me increase my airspeed now. Oh, I can also put my flaps in. That's also going to be extremely helpful for the speed, because I'm down to 150. This is ridiculous. But yeah, because I probably can increase my climb rate.
Walker 4021, contact Jacksonville Center 124.7.
Contact Jacksonville Center 1247, Walker 4021. Alright, so that's the auto tune. It's showing that we're going off, then we have to let them know we're on their frequency. Jackson Center, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, say altitude.
Passing through 15,000, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Jacksonville Center, climb and maintain flight level 320.
Climb and maintain flight level 320, Walker 4021. Alright, so at this point, you know, other than passing from center to center as we cross things, so it's interesting that Jacksonville comes all the way up here. I mean, because we're kind of through a little bit of Georgia, we're into South Carolina, we're almost into North Carolina. I'm not sure who I would think.
Walker 4021, turn left, heading 265.
Turn left, heading 265, Walker 4021. Alright, so now I'm going to need to change my heading. I'm sure if I don't do it soon, they're going to yell at me. Let's see. They want to give me 265. It's like 264 and... Alright, well, we'll do that. So... because that's actually going to be quite a turn. So.
Walker 4021, cleared direct Spartanburg. Resume own navigation.
Cleared Spartanburg, Walker 4021. Alright, so at this point I'm just going to go right back where I was, because I was in essence flying direct to Spartanburg. So it's possible they were rerouting me. Yeah, there is some traffic. Again, I don't know that it knows that, or knows me. Because the traffic is, we're technically at about the same altitude. So maybe we're gonna have a potential problem, because they're about 1,000 feet straight up above me here. So I think it's that one, but I don't know that turning me to 265 would have helped a whole lot. But in any event, we're getting on there. We've still got, what, 82 miles just to get to Spartanburg. So unless something super exciting happens, I'm going to step away. Obviously, I'm going to try to enjoy what Beyondatc gives me, see if I want to pay attention to it or not, or maybe I'll put it on auto respond. But obviously, since this is new, a lot of it is testing for me as well. So I'm going to get going on that. I need to get my altimeter to standard, or my so that all that works. I went through 18,000 and missed that. At this point, we can also turn off landing lights. So I'll just keep doing my flying, and I'll see you in a bit.
Cross WAT and maintain flight level 270, Kansas City Airport landing runway 19er left, altimeter 29er55.
Cross WAT and maintain flight level 270. Land runway 19er left, Walker 4021. Alright, so I'm getting ready to descend, so I called that in so that I could just continue going on. We'll see how things go, because I was going way lower, but I guess we'll try to follow what they're suggesting. I'm not a real fan of that, because I'm worried we're gonna wait. Whoops. Forgot. I don't even have my controller on, because obviously after 2 hours it kind of shuts down, like well before that, like 10 minutes in. Alright, I usually need to go down to like 70 or something, so sorry for that incessant beeping. So you can see above that this is basically the auto response. So otherwise, as you notice, like when I speak, it doesn't put that text up there. So I turned that off just after a little while. We kept acknowledging transfer to centers. That is all that happened on the flight over here for the most part. Now, full disclosure, I was an idiot, and I flew most of the way. I was probably 150 miles away, 200 miles away. And I ran out of gas because I didn't look at my gas gauge. So this is actually a second flight that you're seeing the end of, because I ran out of fuel. Because basically the aircraft just, I think, defaults. It defaults to 50%. And so yeah. But yeah, so this is kind of, I guess, step climbing us down. We'll see if that works, because I'm just not sure that it does. Unable next altitude. Okay, well, let me look at what it's telling me. Alright, well, there is no next altitude, really. So we'll have to see. But basically, at this point, it should start, once I level out, probably give me another location. I'm gonna again lower this a bit so that I can see, and then maybe I'll have to request an altitude change, but we'll see. But at this point it takes me down to 21,000. I don't see a top of descent yet. So we're set at 2955 for the altimeter. I had 2954, but that was probably 30 minutes ago off Navigraph, so probably changed a bit. We did have weather in between, but we'll see. I guess my problem is I don't know that it's, you know, bringing us in the same way, because honestly I don't know where Krazo is. I'm trying to look here and yeah, I'm just not seeing it. Oh, we crossed Krazo a long time ago, so I'm not sure. Can I descend further? Request altitude change to 1000. Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, roger. Say new altitude.
11,000.
Walker 4021, unable your flight is to the northwest and 11,000 is an odd-numbered flight level. Please pick an even altitude.
12,000.
Walker 4021, unable 12,000 at this time.
Just worried I'm getting way too close to the airport. I mean, let's see. Did it give me a top of descent yet? Not really. Because, I mean, it's almost telling us to go to 2,000. Like, I think it's not going to bring us in properly.
Walker 4021, contact Kansas City Center 2555, see you.
Contact Kansas City Center, Walker 4021.
Negative, Kansas City Center on 2555.
Alright, the autopilot didn't have to say this frequency. Kansas City Center on 12555, Walker 4021. Forgot my own flight number. Kansas City Center, Walker 4021. Maybe it'll give me a transition here.
Walker 4021, say altitude.
No. Flight level 270.
Walker 4021, Kansas City Center, roger.
Alright, you're not helping me. Request altitude change, Walker 4021. Requesting flight level 200. Let's see if it gets that.
Walker 4021, unable flight level 2200 at this time.
You're a pain in the ass. Why? Request altitude change, Walker 4021. Let's see what it gives me as options.
Walker 4021, roger, say new altitude.
Yeah, it's like only letting me go up. I don't want to go up. Flight level 240.
Walker 4021,
wow.
Unable flight level 240 at this time.
It gave me that choice. Okay. Request descent, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, I didn't get that.
Whoops.
Walker 4021, contact Kansas City approach 124.7.
Alright, let's see. Kansas City approach 124.7, Walker 4021. Kansas City approach, Walker 4021, flight level 270.
Walker 4021, verify information, echo.
I have information echo, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Kansas City approach. Good day. Altimeter 2955. Expect radar vectors for ILS runway 19 left.
Radar vectors runway 19 left, Walker 4021. Alright, I am going to start descending, and it can yell at me if it doesn't like it. But we are like, I mean, you can see I almost need to go down at 2,000. So I'm going to go down a lot faster. Because, yeah, I'm not going to ruin an 800-mile flight because of ridiculous air traffic control. I don't know how we slowed down as much. Oh, okay, because we were descending. So I didn't even realize that, because usually once I'm descending. But I'm hoping, because I'm just basically going this way. I mean, in theory, I've got the directions. I mean, the thing is, I don't know that I want radar vectors, honestly. Yeah, I'm looking at the options it gives me. Because again, I've descended with this once, but it was a totally different kind of flight, so... Man, it almost feels like I'm still not going down enough, so I'm going to go to 3,000, which is going to push the envelope a lot. I mean, that's pretty intense, but I think I'm behind, in all honesty, because I think that triangle there is showing me that I'm like above the level I should be at for a normal approach. And obviously the closer I fly, at this point we're 30 nautical miles from the airport, but we are circling around. We're coming up at to the airport basically from the southeast. So we're going to pass the airport coming in on 19 left, obviously. We're going to be coming south at that point, so we're going to pass the airport and come back and loop back and then join the ILS approach at that point. So I've got more than 30 miles, but, you know, really, you know, that would be like 10,000 feet is where I'll be down, and so that would get me to 17,000 feet, in theory, by the time I get to the airport. Now, we're going to be closer than that because we're diving, so, but, you know, it's the old divide, you know, the distance multiply by 3, so if I got to go down 10,000 feet, I multiply by 3 at 30 nautical miles. That basically is what the normal glide slope would be. So again, they're not yelling at me, they're not doing any of that, so I think I can kind of do what I want, but we'll see. But now we're going to Moray, which is, well, we're actually at Moray. Okay, now we're going 14 miles to Slab. Slab is basically then the end of the arrival, and then we're going to be going into the approach, the ILS runway 19L approach. So let me pull that up and look as we get close. Alright, so we basically want to join Zapfa. I don't even see where that is. Oh, okay. So we want to be at 2,800 at Zapfa, which is basically once we're in line. We don't really have height. It looks like 4,800 at Howell. I don't know that it's giving me one for Tobre. And then UQ 4,300, Zisuit 3,700. So, like I said, I definitely want to get down there. Alright, so, alright, well that took us down a lot with the altimeter change, but that's okay. But yeah, going down to, you know, 8,900 or whatever, 8,100 that I have should be fine. Might get me below the cloud level. I'm trying to slow down also, to try to get to 250 or at least below 260, below 10,000. I'm going to turn on my lights. So get our landing lights on. That will put us in a good spot there. Alright, so now we're at least below 260, so we won't be over speeding.
Walker 4021, leave flap heading 010. Expect radar vectors for ILS runway 19 left.
Leave slab heading 010. Expect radar vectors. Walker 4021. Alright, and that's about what I'm going to need off of slabs, so that seems right, so I think I can stick on the autopilot. I probably want to, just in case it does something crazy. Alright, we were almost on 10, so if we need to go there, so here we go. Here's slab, and then I think that's literally the heading it's going to put us on, so because we're going from slab to Tobre.
Walker 4021, turn right, heading 005, descend and maintain 3000, altimeter 2955, vectors for the approach.
Turn right heading 005, descend and maintain 3000, vectors for the approach, Walker 4021. Alright, so again, we can get down to 3,000, that's my point. Like, we shouldn't be dive bombing into the airport, so I'm not a big fan of them not kind of letting me do what I want to do. I mean, I get it if there's traffic or whatever, and I'm thinking 0010 or whatever. I'm gonna see this is putting me on 005 anyway, so it works. We're gonna zoom this out so we can see, but again, we should be at 5,500. The autopilot's gonna level us out there anyway, but see, now we've got that coming up here. So yeah, now it's basically joining the vertical path, and now it's gonna kind of take us in a little bit more appropriately there. So, and I assume as long as I'm descending, they're not gonna care much. But I guess we'll find out. Because yeah, the test flight I just did between O'Hare and Cleveland Hopkins. So it was a couple hundred miles. It was in a standard airliner. So there was a lot more going on. So here, yeah, we're turning a bit more. Like I said, if it starts giving us ridiculous approaches, this is where it's going to be a challenge. I mean, I'd rather follow the ILS route than anything else. I mean, it knows I have ILS. I mean, it's telling me radar vectors for ILS, so that might be the thing. Maybe that's what it's telling me, and I'm just too stupid with the aviation knowledge to understand that expect radar vectors for ILS 19 left means just follow what the chart tells you, which is what I'm trying to do. So as long as I do that, I assume then I will be okay. But I just don't know. Alright, so we're at about 5,500.
Walker 4021, turn left, heading 360.
That seems about right. Turn left, heading 360, Walker 4021. So there you go, we're coming up to 360. And although it's going to move us again, so we'll see if it gets mad at us. Because now it's taking us to the next fix, and again, we're descending. So, I mean, if it wants to yell at me, I guess it can yell at me, but you know, because this is the challenge, because in theory we're supposed to be following air traffic control here. Alright, I don't know that I want to put my wheels out yet. Alright, so we're at 3,700 is the next point it's gonna get us in on. I think it's generating something.
Turn right, heading 300.
Turn right heading 300, Walker 4020. I'm like messing up my call sign. Again, there's a lot going on, so trying to do the call in
Walker 4021, 2 miles from Zapda, turn left, heading 250, maintain 2,700 until established on the final approach course. Cleared ILS runway 19er left.
Heading 250, maintain 2700, runway 19er left, Walker 4021. All right.
Walker 4021, contact tower 128.2.
Contact tower 128.2, Walker 4021. Kansas City Tower, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, tower, continue.
Continue, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, wind 140, at 9er, runway 19er left, clear to land.
Runway 19er left, cleared to land, Walker 4021. So I assume at this point we're not going to hear anything else. Because you see, we can declare a go-around. We can do other things. I've got my... Oh no, I don't have my gear down now. I waited too long with everything that was going on. So, I'm probably... Whoops. I'm probably going to need a bit of extra power there. So we're going to get our flaps out. You know, I'd like to get my next level of flaps out. But we'll see how this all plays out. And hopefully we don't have anything too crazy happening. But overall, I mean, the control worked okay. It didn't send me anywhere insane. So I think we're good. There's my green dot at about 120, 115. So we'll see at maybe 200 I'll take over. I don't know, I'd like to be a little slower. I think we've got some... I know we had like 11 mile per hour winds. So it is windy today. I will say that. So that has definitely not been a good thing. Let's see. Alright, I'm off now. I don't have my landing monitor on, which will be bad because I definitely want that. Alright, let's see. 14 feet. 10. Let's see. Let's try to nurse this in. Whoa, shoot. Where are we at? I don't know what it finally took, but alright, well we didn't land in time there. Or to taxi off, but we'll vacate the runway. Here it comes.
Walker 4021, exit right at Charlie.
Alright, I assume this is Charlie. Exited Charlie, Walker 4021. I assume this is Charlie. I don't know. Again, that's beyond my capabilities.
Walker 4021, contact ground 130.82.
Contact ground 130.82, Walker 4021. Ground, Walker 4021 at Charlie. Nah, it's not going to know what I meant.
Walker 4021, request not understood.
Vacated at Charlie, Walker 4021. Yeah, alright. I just need to...
Walker 4021, request not understood.
Alright, let me see if I can pick a gate here. What do we got? Can I see gates? Goodness, I don't really see anything. Okay, that's a decommissioned terminal. So I think I need to go over there. Where's my GA? Is there a GA ramp? Alright, let's see if we can have it do that. Request taxi to General Aviation Ramp, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, welcome to Kansas City Airport. Say parking or advise if need assignment.
I would like to go to GA, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, say again ramp number.
Ramp number GA, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, say again ramp number.
Alright, let's just go to a gate. Is it B or R? R7, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, say again ramp number.
Romeo 7, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, say again ramp number.
My God. Bravo 63, Walker 4021. See if we can get a gate.
Walker 4021, say again ramp number.
Alright, I give up. Any ramp, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, ramp 84 taxi via Charlie, Delta.
Alright, well, in theory, I'm on Charlie. I don't know if I really am. Let's look around outside here. There's no signage at all, so this doesn't help me.
Walker 4021, ramp 84 taxi via Charlie, Delta.
Ramp 84, taxi via Charlie, Delta, Walker 4021. Alright, we'll see. Whoops. Let's see where we go. I do have the parking brake on. Because they want to resolve that. Problem is there's no 8-4 on my chart. I don't know where that is. There's like 11, and then there's all the gates. So if I go via Charlotte, it's actually via Foxtrot. So I'm on the wrong one already. I should have gone on the other one, but this gets me over to Delta then. So anyway, let me get my flaps up. Let me turn my flight director off. But as long as the Kansas City chart is right, at least I can see Charlie Delta. I just don't know. Because according to that, like, this is a decommissioned terminal where we're at. Whoops. So, yeah, this is Delta here. I might be going a little too fast. Hard to tell. So yeah, even though FSLTL has parked aircraft there, it's telling me it's a decommissioned terminal. So the terminal's kind of on the other side. You know, and all it tells you is wind check and gate check. So it's like not going to guide you here in any way. No, this is between terminals, I think. Yeah, that's the control tower, so that's all correct. I feel like I'm going way too fast, but I may not be. It's the one thing there's not, like, until you're going really fast, there's not a ground speed indicator. All right, we've got a plane getting ready to take off. But yeah, basically, we're going to pass this, and then the next one up. there should be basically 3 rows that would take me in. Yeah, so this is like absolutely not designed. Like there should be a terminal that we're turning into here that then wouldn't let us go through. So that's the issue. Like the airport design is not at all what we've got. So what I'm definitely starting to see is there's a lot more bad data in airports in Microsoft Flight Simulator than one would think. I mean, the runway layout is kind of right, but there's no buildings. Like there should be a building, a concourse B over there, and a concourse A over here, and instead we just have a fuel depot, and basically the decommissioned terminal is the only terminal we see. So that's like bad news. So with that, I'm going to just park here because I'm never going to get where it wants me to, and I really don't need to call and talk to air traffic anymore because we're done. So I'm going to stop my engines. Again, we're here for the Advent Health 400, so that's what's taking place at Kansas City. Just make sure it looks like it did file. It's telling me the landing rate was -14, so in theory I think I was kind of going up when it registered, so that could be bad. It was like too soft. But the biggest thing was, you know, we made it here. So, you know, we're going to have a little shorter flight next. We're just going down to Texas to Fort Worth. It's going to be 400 miles. Then we've got a little bit of a doozy where we're traveling 837 miles to Concord Paget. So I assume that's North Carolina. I think I've been there once already. So we'd be headed back there in the next couple weeks. And then we eventually have a long one in a month or so here where we're flying 1,500 miles to Sonoma, so we're heading out toward California again. And that should be, I don't know about the last really long one. I think we end by heading back across country, but then, you know, we come back, obviously, so we'll have a good long flight on the way back from Sonoma. But once we get past week 18, or leg 18 in this case, things kind of stick around on the eastern half of the country, and obviously relatively close. So could be a lot of Cessna flights still, that I don't know. But, you know, it should easily be under 1,000 miles, and in most cases, you know, 500 or less. But there are certainly some long ones. Because, yeah, at some point I see we're coming back here, week 29. Leg 29 brings us back. Almost the same loop. That's interesting. We're literally flying the same thing from Florence to Kansas City. So I'm just surprised they took us from Darlington back to Kansas, but we do. But that we're already into the playoffs for. So that is why. But in any event, we are done. Again, interesting airport. I'm going to close Beyondatc down. But if you've enjoyed this, haven't dropped a like, and certainly let me know what you think with the air traffic and so forth, and having that involved, and how you best feel, you know, did it work this way, where basically I kind of cut out the center, and we had the air traffic work on the way up and on the way out and on the way down, or would you recommend something else? And definitely looking for any other feedback you've got, or any other just general comments. Hopefully you're enjoying the series as we take folks around to the NASCAR tracks in 2022. If you're not a subscriber, please consider that, and I will see you next time.